Jeff, we did the best of 2019, you, me, and Michael. You know what that means.
Back to the regular old shit we
Double
always
news.
do?
Double news podcast.
Oh, okay.
It's twice the news. It's actually just half the filler stories is all it is, because
Twice the news, half the filler.
that's right. Yeah. It's healthier. It's better for you. It's free range. It's fat free. It's sugar free. It's low calorie. You know,
Yeah.
you're not going to get fat listening to the Rage Select podcast. I mean, maybe if you just like eat a lot of ice cream while you're eating the Rage Select podcast, but I will not be held responsible for the ice cream habits of other people, John.
I understand.
So welcome back, everybody, to the Rage Select podcast right here on Rage Select. I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
Actually, you know what? I have an ice cream question for you.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you're just like, I don't expect
You fat? Is that what you're going to say? You're going to say I'm fat?
No, you're like the literal straw man for what I'm about to ask. Because there's across the street from where you and I live, they just opened up a frozen custard joint.
Yeah, it's been there for about 4 months.
That just sells frozen custard.
Yes.
What is the advantage to frozen custard over just ice cream?
It
I
has a
understand
different
frozen-
texture.
Okay. Was it
Like,
like
it's
grainy, like sand? It's
No,
coarse,
it's
rough.
So
gets
I
everywhere.
actually like getting their chocolate custard because it tastes like almost like a frozen chocolate pudding.
Oh, okay. That sounds weird and kind of weird.
Yeah, it's good though. Like it's kind of the same thing, but it's a different texture. It's
What
a little
happened-
bit smoother, a little bit.
What happened to frozen yogurt? You can't get frozen yogurt anywhere anymore.
Yogurt was never really a thing.
Ah.
I mean, it was a thing, but I
Man, I used to eat at the country's best yogurt like once a week and go in there and get myself a big old frozen yogurt with a bunch of toppings on it. But you know what? That's not what we're here to talk about, toppings on frozen yogurt. We're here to talk about news and trailers and emails and all those different things.
yeah, sure.
Before we get into the news, which it actually turns out it's been a pretty light couple of weeks, and so
Yeah, I understand.
it's going to be a normal.
They
normal
understand
thing.
that a lot of people are doing their best ofs for 2019, so they wanted to give.
We couldn't have done 4
the
hours
industry,
worth of podcast last week, as well as re-recording Dragon Ball Z episodes and
Yeah.
watching Dragon Ball Z. Speaking of things that I watched the first episode of that Picard show. The Star Wars
I haven't
Picard
seen
show.
that yet.
It was pretty good. I kind of liked it. I think a lot of that was probably just Patrick Stewart pushing my nostalgia buttons.
Oh, of course.
And a lot of it, too, was, I think, also that, in Star Trek Discovery, everybody's, like, young. And, like, the first episode of Star Trek Discovery was just, like, fucking lasers and photon torpedoes and just, like, a million ships. They're all fighting each other. Ah! Like, I saw a lot of reviews for the Picard show where it was, like, it's boring. It's, like, half of it's just Jean-Luc Picard on his family's farm drinking wine, like looking at the vineyards. And I'm like, dude, I'd watch a whole series that was about Jean-Luc Picard making wine. All right. But I liked it. I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing nothing but positive reviews. Like I haven't been seeing very many negative reviews.
I look for reviews on YouTube. Maybe
Well,
that was
there's
my
your
problem. Then I think I went on Facebook, and Chris from over at One of Us was just like, "I loved it," and everybody was like, "Me too, me too."
Yeah, well,
So-
most places I've seen reviews for it have been like pretty positive.
Yeah. Guess the thing is that I really didn't like Discovery, and so I was a little I had a lot of trepidation about it because like the way it was shot in the trailers, it was very like high contrast, low saturation, very like moody.
Yeah.
And I was really just worried that it was going to end up being, and who knows, from the trailer, maybe it's going to end up being a crazy action thing. And I still am not convinced that Akiva Goldsmith or whatever his name is won't fuck it up by the end of it. Like, it's got a really interesting premise that I feel like would be really easy to fuck up by the end of this season of it. So,
Well, they're already talking about season 2. I know Whoopi Goldberg's going to be in it.
cool. There was a lot of special guest star Brent Spiner in the first episode.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I liked it though. I liked what I saw. Let's see. You've been watching like millions of things. You've been going.
Yeah,
to movies.
well, we've been going to the movies a lot lately. Like I went and saw. It's funny because last week we went and saw 2 movies that are like limited release movies.
Mm-hmm.
So not a lot of people would get a chance to go see them in theater because they're probably not showing in a lot of theaters.
Yeah.
One is a film called VHYes.
Okay.
Which is directed and written by Tim Robbins.
Okay.
It's the son of
Susan Sarandon.
Susan Sarandon
Tim Robbins.
and actual Tim Robbins.
Yeah.
I think his name is Tim.
Oh.
Or as well.
Well, that's not confusing.
Yeah, I could be wrong about that. It could I just could be thinking, but Susan Sarandon and Tim Robbins' son directed it, and it's kind of this weird, like it's a very out there idea. It's all so the idea behind it is you are essentially watching a VHS tape.
Okay,
that is was made by a kid who got a camera on Christmas.
Jack Henry Robbins.
Jack Robbins. Okay, sorry. I don't know why I thought his name was Tim Robbins.
No problem. No problem.
My brain is wrong there. So anyways, it's about a kid whose family gets like a VHS back in the 80s when VHS cameras were like the brand new thing.
Yeah.
And does what every person who first got a VHS camera did, which is, shot some footage around the house, found out you can hook it up to a TV and actually record what's going on TV.
Sure.
So he grabs a tape, and incidentally, it's his parents' wedding video.
Oh, Jackson get a beating for that.
Not his actual parents, but the character who's doing the filming.
Oh, yeah.
It's this kid's parents' wedding video, and then it's basically a bunch of like almost like mix of scenes of this kid filming random stuff, and then scenes of stuff this kid recorded off of late night TV, and it's all very sketch comedy based, but edited in a way that there's actually a story being told through all of this.
Okay,
that is funny. First of all, it's funny as fucking hell. And also really endearing.
So, I mean, it would be it's like a comedy. It's like a comedy drama.
Yeah.
I think when I looked it up and I looked at the poster for it, I was like, is this like a horror movie?
I would say watch the trailer for it if you can, because to kind of give you an idea of what it kind of reminds me a lot of the Tim and Eric Awesome Show or whatever, but less. I don't know. I don't really like Tim and Eric.
I've never seen it. I couldn't say.
I don't like Tim and Eric stuff, but I really liked this.
Okay. But is it like lol so random type of humor?
A little bit, but not totally.
Okay.
But the other thing is that it's 100% shot on VHS cameras.
Oh, okay.
So it's not one of those things where they shot using new cameras and then digitally altered the footage to look like old footage. No, it's
not like Rage Select intros.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, because that's how most people do it now. Instead, this guy, he's like, no, I wanted the jankiness of the focus lens of everything. And so when the kid's playing around with it, it's actually the kid playing around with the camera, because he wanted like authentic, like what would this kid do in this situation?
Yeah.
And obviously there's it's really well done. If you get a chance to see it, if it's somewhere playing near you, I would recommend seeing it or watching it. I enjoyed it. It's only like 76 minutes or something like that.
Okay.
So it's not very long.
So maybe don't go to like the super premium theater where you spend like $25 a ticket and then order $6 worth of food or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can do that. It's possible that's the only place that's going to play it, because I know here in town the only place that played it was the Alamo Drafthouse.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Apparently, it also aired at like Fantastic Fest this last year.
Sounds like one of those.
Yeah. Like I can't wait for it to actually come out on like Blu-ray or DVD or whatever, because just based on interviews, I've heard that it is going to have a lot of extra features. Like it's going to be a loaded
baked potato.
Yeah. And then after that, we went and saw an anime in theaters called Weathering with You.
Okay.
Which is kind of about this kid who's run away from home and meets up with this girl who can make it stop raining.
Yeah, sure. That's what happens.
And
everybody in Japan can do that. Oh, no, that's weird.
And there's a whole story about their relationship and what her ability, what the reason behind her ability. And it's a very slice of life. It's by the same director and writer of Your Name.
Okay.
And a lot of people I fucking loved it. It's a very beautiful movie. It's really well done. That's another one I would definitely recommend checking out.
Okay. Cool. Well, I will have to put all those on my list for when they roll through. All else I've been doing is I was going to play it for Rage Select, but there was a game last week that came out called Hardcore Mecha that I played from beginning to end and then started doing the challenge modes that was extremely excellent. And then now I'm trying not to fall back into the rabbit hole that is Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, because I already played that 60-hour JRPG, god damn it. But I'm also trying to figure out who the demographic for Tokyo Mirage Sessions is, because it's all about being an idol and that stuff. But
the demographic is Japan.
But there's just like a lot of like fan service. There's a lot of like bouncing boobage and stuff in there. I don't know. I guess it doesn't seem to me like it would be that big of a crossover audience of guys that want to see anime boobs bouncing and also want to pretend to be a pop idol. But maybe I'm just stereotyping, and I should stop because everybody has their thing. Well, I tell you what, we do have some stuff to get into here. And let's start with the big one that was actually 2 weeks ago, and that is the reveal of the final Super Smash Brothers Ultimate Fighter Pack character, and it's Byleth from Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yeah, apparently a lot of people were really upset by this.
Yeah, this is the actual. We've got it on in the background here because it's like an hour long. Is this the actual Nintendo announcement video? And it's got like 136 thumbs up, and it's got like 136,000 thumbs up, and then like 80,000 thumbs downs. Like a lot of people didn't like this. And for anybody who doesn't interact with Smash, I think I chalked it up to two reasons. One is that there's this weird thing in the Smash fandom that I have found, at least that I feel like I found. It's probably always been there, which is that people get really invested in just these very flimsy rumors that like the Doomslayer's gonna be in Smash Brothers,
Or
Goku's gonna be in Smash Brothers, and when it's not that, they get really mad about that.
Every time, I think there's a conspiracy that every time Smash Brothers doesn't announce Goku as a DLC character, Dragon Ball FighterZ releases Goku as a DLC character.
I actually installed Dragon Ball FighterZ the other last week because I was like, wait a minute, did this game tell the story of Dragon Ball so I don't have to watch this horrible cartoon? Like, oh no, this is just completely off the wall bullshit nonsense.
Yeah.
The other reason though is because Byleth, the character, is, a medieval dude what has sword. There are a lot of medieval dudes what have sword already.
And
in
also
Smash.
they're mostly from Fire Emblem games.
There's a lot from Fire Emblem. There's a lot from the Xenogears.
I think there's a total of, not counting this character, there's like 4 Fire Emblem characters.
I don't even remember. I don't ever play them. I think they're all real boring because they're all just dudes what got swords. Yeah. There's also, just like Link is dude what has swords, and there's like 3 Links in the game, right? There's at least 2. There's like the cartoon Link and regular Link.
Yeah, there's Toon Link and regular Link.
So people were not super happy with this.
Yeah.
I was indifferent because a lot of these Smash DLC characters, I bought the season pass, so I'll go back and play them briefly, but it's not like I'm going to go back and I don't play Smash outside of when something like this happens, right? Like I got other games to play, right?
Yeah.
So this wasn't enough just to be like, I'm getting back into it. But the long and short of it is that the main character does have the sword that's part of the game, but then the 3 houses each have a leader, and each one of those leaders has a specific like weapon, like soul weapon.
Yeah.
And then the sword transforms into all 3 of those soul weapons. So it's like a bow and arrow, like a kind of big halberd, and then it has like a stick or something. I don't remember. They're showing it right now. Yeah, like a falchion or whatever. They've got the dude model of Byleth, the lady model of Byleth, and then a stage that's all in Garreg Monastery with a bunch of the students in the background that kind of goes between a few different places. I mean, like, if you're into Fire Emblem, this is good and cool and good looking. But like you said, a lot of people had a lot of problems.
And then I know
with it.
that they made another announcement.
Oh yeah, we got all that stuff in here.
Yeah.
So yeah, the other announcement was that they're having a second fighter pack.
Yeah.
And that fighter pack is actually going to have 6 characters instead of 5.
Yeah, and all 6 characters have already been decided.
Yes.
They were very quick to come out with that. Like, also all 6 are already decided, so please don't at
me.
us.
Don't at me. Yeah, there's actually it was funny because there was a part during I don't know how they don't see this happening, but during the stream, the main Smash guy, did this thing where he was counting things up, and he was counting them up on one hand in binary. So like he was putting up different fingers for the different like binary. Yeah. And so one of the times that he did it, he had like his thumb and his middle finger and his pinky up for one of the things. And so you could know that immediately after it was over, the memes began where they cut off that pinky and they were just like, new Fire Emblem character announced because fuck you. That's why. Also, the other thing that people have been saying is that, or not saying, but I think one of the other reasons that people are a little mad is that the 5 characters that came out, a lot of them were from third-party games, right?
Yeah.
Joker, you had Hero, Banjo-Kazooie, I don't even remember what number 4. Oh, Terry Bogard, and then Byleth. And so ending it on a Nintendo franchise instead of roping something in from the greater, internet, I think people were a little upset with that. I think it's a little overblown to be be completely frank about it, because like Smash Brothers Ultimate is a wonderful game, and the number of characters that they've added in that are all just like very unique with all this original art has been dynamite fantastic. I also even watched another YouTube video where a guy was like, some people have argued that they should have, if they were going to do a Nintendo character, that this character should have been like the first character to come out in Challenge Pack 2 instead of the last character to come back in Challenge Pack 1. And that guy made a really good point where he was like, yeah, but they already have your money for Challenge Pack 1, so they want something like Joker, where it's so just like, oh my god, I've got to go buy that challenge pack, instead of just like, oh, I don't really care about Fire Emblem, whatever, I'll see what the next 2 or 3 are.
No, I agree with that.
They want to get you really pumped up when you get into the second
they want to, when they announce the first character for Fighter Pack 1, they want you to be so shocked and like it to be I never thought that character would ever be in Smash.
Yeah,
they want it to be that to get you to buy it.
Yeah. John, what characters do you want in Smash Brothers Ultimate? Did you play Smash Brothers Ultimate?
Yeah, I own it.
Oh, okay. All right.
We played a lot.
Okay. I wasn't sure. We talk a lot about a lot of different video games. I don't know.
I think I really want Travis Touchdown.
Okay. Yeah, they've got a connection to Nintendo.
I think that would be pretty cool, is to have Travis Touchdown in there. Maybe I also thought it'd be funny if they said all the characters for season 2 were already set, and it just turned out they're all different versions of Goku.
Hooray! I swear to God, Dragon Ball won't leave me the fuck alone.
I think Noctis.
Noctis? Oh, God.
Yeah, just so we can get Noctis in another game.
Noctis, Goku, like all Jeff's favorite characters.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I don't want any of those. Outside of Travis
Delson
Touchdown.
Rowe from Infamous Second Son. Just
Well, you like Infinite Second Son.
I have a complicated relationship with Delson Rowe.
Yeah.
Well, they already have the amiibo for Solaire. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know if I'd be interested in seeing Solaire there, but I'd be really interested in seeing all the backgrounds, the Dark Souls backgrounds. Put the big snake comes up, and
trying to think what would be some interesting. Like I said, I do think Travis Touchdown would be a good one.
I was gonna say Tokyo Mirage Sessions, but those are all Fire Emblem characters. So
if they want to get really weird with it, they should also do what's his name from Deadly Premonition.
Oh, the main guy.
Yeah. Since they're doing the prequel, sequel, whatever it's called.
What about just Scorpion? Just put Scorpion in there, right?
He's in Mortal Kombat.
He's in everything else. Just put Scorpion and Ryu. Or no, wait, Ken and Ryu are already in there.
Yeah, Ken and Ryu are already in there.
Then you could have Ken fight Scorpion.
Yeah, you can have Ken, Ryu, Scorpion, and Terry Bogard.
Ryu. I guess one of the assassins might work, right? From the AC series. I don't know. What was the last?
The Goose from Untitled Goose Game.
Untitled Goose Game. That'd be a good one. I'd be all down with joke character Goose from Untitled Goose Game.
Yeah.
He's got like 4 different moves, right? He's got a down attack, and he's got flap wings.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think what else would he get.
Are there any Resident Evil characters in there? Are there any Capcom? There's some Capcom characters in there, right?
Outside of Ken and Ryu in Mega Man, I don't.
Is Bayonetta Bayonetta's Capcom, right?
No, that's Sega, and then it was and then it actually is now Nintendo technically.
Right.
Licensed through Sega.
Actually, I guess in my mind is just bringing up Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom characters at this point.
Yeah.
What about Phoenix Wright? That'd be kind of weird. He's never been in a fighting game before. Oh, wait. All right. Well, we'll see what happens next. All I know is
I'm just trying to think of like what games would have appeared on the Switch that would be interesting to see.
Ape Out?
Like what like high profile Switch titles that are not necessarily Nintendo titles. Like as much as it annoys me when people are like, why did you put Goku in the game?
Yeah.
If Goku's in the game, I wouldn't be upset. Like, it's whatever.
Yeah, I think he'd be not a very interesting character, considering he would probably just be like punching a lot, throwing laser blasts. Like, he wouldn't be a very different character, right? It would just be a strong guy who throws fireballs and punches people and flies around. So
But yeah, like I'm trying to think, like what is there anything that
the rabbits?
you know what? I actually would not be shocked if a rabbit ended up in
like maybe a rabbit that then has the costumes of the different
like it's
Mario
different costumes, or like if there's the plain rabbit and then all the different
or just
costumes.
Like Peach Rabbit from Mario Rabbids.
Yeah. I would not be shocked by that.
What about just like that cardboard mech from Labo 02 or whatever it was? Well, they put fucking Mr. Game & Watch in there. You know,
that would be good.
They're not above that. It's just a like a Nintendo Labo thing that transforms into all the different projects and then like attacks with them. I'm just trying to think of all the stuff that's come out. I guess like Marvel the Marvel Ultimate Alliance is on the Switch. You can put some Marvel. Are there Marvel? There are Marvel characters in there already.
No,
like Spider-Man or something.
No, nothing's in there. I'll probably put it like the Dovahkiin from Skyrim.
Oh yeah, sure. I don't know. Any of that would work. I'm fine. Like I have no expectations. I have no dog in this fight. So then I don't get mad when.
Here's the thing.
The thing doesn't
I bought
happen.
the first season pass. I'm totally happy with it. I may buy the second season pass.
Yeah, it was money well spent. I don't feel like I got ripped off by the fighter pack. So
no, same here.
Anyway, so that happened. There's also this weird thing that's happening on Twitter, John. I don't know if you know this about the Nintendo Directs, where people are like have been expecting a Nintendo Direct for a while now, and then like this week people were upset because 2 weeks ago there was a Pokemon Nintendo Direct, and then last week there was a Smash Nintendo Direct, and then this week they just want like a regular Nintendo Direct that isn't focused on like one specific
game.
Yeah. But then in addition, there was also some more Fire Emblem love last week when they announced / I believe released the fourth DLC for Fire Emblem Three Houses that is actually like underneath the monastery. There's like some weird sewers, and there's like a secret fourth house of outcast students who go to school in the sewer. And you can
the Morlocks.
Yeah, and you can like go down there and hang out with them, and then eventually, because in the first part of the game, you can like talk to people, and if you have a good enough relationship with them, they will eventually come over. You can invite them to come into your house.
Yeah.
So it's actually possible to kind of get just about everybody into your house if you do it right. And that's where these folks come in. Like you can't actually choose the Morlock school. You can't choose the Chud school to be like your primary school that you're teaching at Garrick Mach, where they're like, do you want the noble blue lions or like the red eagles? You're like, I want to be in the sewer. I want to be downtown, the Ninja Turtle school. That's what I'm looking to do. It also looks like it's added on like some kind of weird challenge map thing that you can go through. I think this is probably a very good value for anybody who's into Fire Emblem.
Okay.
But like for the life of me, I cannot think of going back and starting that game over again. Like that game was 80 hours for me, and I just don't want to play it again. I mean,
I've never played it.
Yeah. I could say you're more than welcome to borrow my copy if you want. 80-hour JRPG. So anyway, I believe that's all the real big Nintendo news, because there wasn't a Nintendo Direct this week. So next up, we're going to go from good-ass Nintendo news to this is usually when I do the podcast, John, I put I usually try to put the first part of the podcast with like what was the big news of the week. We're going to talk about some side stuff, we're going to some fun stuff. We're going to have trailers. Then we're going to have basically the end part, and that's like release dates and delays, and then like some fun stuff at the very end, right?
Yeah.
Well, over the last 2 weeks, we have accumulated so many delays that we now must talk about all the delays in a row.
Yeah. There's been a lot of delays.
Q1 this year was looking pretty good, and
now it's delayed.
I hope you are ready to wait for the holidays, because just about everything has been backed up, including my browser, because I have so many friggin' tabs open in this thing. Anyway, it starts with the one that is the most saddest in the universe to me, John, and that was Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
Normally, I really don't care. Like, game delays, brah, I've been doing the game industry for 30 years, man. Like, game delays, shmame belays. Like, it's fine. The thing that bums me out about this one was that Cyberpunk 2077 was going to come out on my birthday this year. It was going to be like a birthday gift from CD Projekt Red to me, and that is no longer.
They took it away and said, "No gift for you, Jeff."
They said, you wait for Christmas, I guess, instead." So, yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 was going to come out on April 16th of this year, and it is now backed up to September of this year. It looks like this is basically just like they wanted to do more polish on it.
Yeah.
They didn't want to like put it out half done. They wanted to get it out. And there's actually a few other stories about how in spite of this delay, they're probably going to be crunching from now until September just to get it out.
Well, it also brought up the fact that, while fans are like, yeah, take as much time as you need, that's, while, they can't speak for CD Projekt Red specifically, there are a lot of companies that will build up crunch leading up to the release, and then when they announce the delay, they never stop crunching.
Yeah. No, it happens all the time. And CD Projekt Red, I mean, we've already known that they have a bad rep for crunch anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It brings up the thing. No, it really doesn't. I was going to say would it be better if they just released it a year from April with no crunch? I was going to be like, equivocate. But yes, I'd rather the people that work for CD Projekt Red not have to. I've waited for 5, 6, 8 years for this game.
One of the things about CD Projekt Red that it's more of the laws of the country they're based in than anything. But at least at the very least, when they do crunch, they are paid overtime.
Yes.
Whereas most other companies don't do that.
Yeah.
Which, when you think about what crunch is and that they don't get paid overtime, because typically they're salary.
Yeah.
And usually they try to incentivize it, like, oh, well, for every overtime hour you work, we'll give you a ticket for a raffle for the possibility to win a thing.
I don't know. I had some friends that worked in QA and they never got past hourly. So when the crunch came, they all got paid.
Yeah.
It's so weird because it's almost just like if you guys had just, I don't know. It's just very strange that crunch lasts so long, that it's not just like the week before the game comes out, we all got to knuckle down and get this thing done, that it's going to be like,
it's usually
months ahead of time. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
Put that on Jeff's no boo list. So, yes, Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed until September. Boo. Actually, if I say boo for all these, I'm just going to sound like a spooky ghost. But I kind of like that, so I'm going to do that anyway. Final Fantasy VII. Remake. The first episode of which is supposed to come out on March 3rd has been delayed to April 10th. So I don't get Cyberpunk for my birthday this year, but I do get Final Fantasy VII. Yeah! Hoorazies! I can play as Cloud all over again in April. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. You like whatever video games you like. But yeah, it's been pushed back a month as well. That was not such a big deal. I feel like anything under 3 months is not really a huge deal. Where if it's like, it's going to come out in January, March, and you're like, all right, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
I can wait 3 months. That's fine. But speaking of Square, we also had The Avengers, which was supposed to be coming out on May 15th and is now backed up to September as well. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think this is just copycat? Do you think they saw The Witcher get backed up and they were just like, fuck it, delay us as well?
No, I actually expected this game to get delayed.
Yeah.
I've not heard good things. Mm-hmm. Apparently they did a couple PAXs or whatever where they actually had demos on the show floor that people could play. And they weren't favorable.
No.
And so as soon as I started seeing reports of that, I was like, this game's going to get delayed.
I still think back to the E3 presentation stuff, and then when we saw that several months later, right? When they released the whole extended footage.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it seems all right. I don't know. Nothing about it is. It also doesn't. I don't know if we've ever talked about this. We probably have because we've been all the way up and down one side and down the other of Avengers. But it also doesn't help that this game is coming out at a point where after Endgame last year, I'm kind of marveled out, right? We built up to this 10-year crescendo of Marvel shit, and then I'm kind of just like, no, give me that Mobius movie. Can I have a Mobius movie instead of another Marvel movie? Just something something a little weird and different, and not just like.
Do you mean Morbius?
Morbius, not Mobius. That's a different thing. And guy.
Mobius is an artist.
Yes, Morbius.
He did a really good comic based on Silver Surfer.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Also, that Morbius movie is in the continuity of Spider-Man.
That's the theory.
Okay. Does that mean that Venom is in the continuity of Spider-Man?
There's some theories.
Does that mean that I could get a movie where Tom Hardy, where Tom Hardy gets to fuck with what's his name, the new Spider-Man guy, the little kid?
I can't remember his name right now. Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. There you go. All I could think of was Garfield, and I was like, that's not right.
Yeah, probably not, but maybe.
Okay.
Like I said, there's theories and theories for and theories against. We'd have to wait until Morbius comes out before we could see if it takes place in the same universe as the Tom Holland Spider-Man. If the running theory is that if it does, it'll be very much like the Marvel TV shows, where they reference the movies, but the movies never reference them. So it's very much a one-sided continuity.
Okay.
So it's like they'll reference the movies, but if anything we do contradicts what happens in those, we don't care.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
And we'll also find out in September whether Morbius is in the Avengers game, right?
Yeah.
It's a DLC character. Speaking of Avengers, oh no, John, I know this one hurts you the most. Iron Man VR has been delayed.
Funny enough, I've heard there's been demos of this that have actually been really praised.
Oh, yeah?
That people have actually said really good things about.
It seemed like, it just kind of seems like a kind of on-railsy, blasting with repulsor rays, flying through the air type of thing.
I've heard it's not as on rails as...
Oh, as it looked in the trailers?
As it looks in the trailers. Like, it is at times on rails, but not as much as it comes off.
Okay. Well, that was supposed to be coming out on February 28th and has now been pushed back to May 15th.
Okay.
So, again... So they're just making it more and more of a desert. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I didn't even put the story up here. The Crystal Chronicles HD was supposed to come out tomorrow as the day that you and I are recording this, and they pushed it back to summer. And I'm just like, God damn it, there's no games out right now. And I think is that it? Is that it? Are there more? Oh no, Dying Light 2. Which I've actually been looking forward to because I really like Dying Light 1.
Yeah, it's really weird that one, actually, this is not the first time it's gotten delayed, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't believe so. But it was supposed to be in spring 2020, and it looks like it's being pushed back kind of... they will say later, at a later date, but not spring 2020. So... it's funny because we saw there was a tech demo for it 2 E3s ago.
Yeah.
There was a trailer for it last E3. I really think the first Dying Light is a very fun video game.
Yeah.
The whole parkour.
I kind of wonder if the hook for this one, which is every choice really does matter kind of thing.
Yeah.
If they might have bit off a little bit more they could choose, or gotten a little bit too ambitious with what they're trying to do in the game.
Maybe. All I know is that I don't know. At least we'll get to see this. What is they just keep saying every 6 months that Dead Island 2 is still being worked on.
Yeah.
We're still working on Dead Island 2, you guys. You remember that one trailer we had at E3 2016 or something that?
Weirdly had Jack Black voicing a character.
Yep. It was a good trailer. But you should just have Blur Studios make a trailer if you don't actually have a game to go behind it. So, but I'm actually really excited because, like I said, Dying Light... I feel like Dying Light even looks bad on, when you look at screenshots of it, you're just like, what is this? This is a muddy zombie game? And then it ended up being really, really fun.
Yeah.
Really good DLC, too. All right. So, speaking of E3, one of the piece of news we got a couple weeks back is that Sony has no E3 this year.
The hell you say?
Well, it's kind of interesting because, okay, I feel like a lot of people kind of had that same attitude, but I was not kind of part of that camp because they had one 2 E3s ago, right? And they showed off every game that they had, which was Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2, and what was the last one? Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima.
They showed a little bit of Control.
Last of Us 2. Oh, was that that one where in between they had the trailers for like RE2 remake and Control and stuff like that? And there was one more that I can't for the life of me remember.
It's a game that's already out though. I know that much. Days Gone? No, one Days Gone.
Was it Days Gone? God of War?
No.
They had the church, and then they had the guy playing the flute, and then they had
it was Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. There you go. Yes. But then last year they didn't go to E3, but last year there weren't a lot of.
And they said they had nothing.
Yeah, they said they didn't have anything. But like this year, they're gearing up for the release of a new console. So it seems like if there was any time to go to E3, this would be the time.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that, and I do agree that that's possibly that's definitely, had they said no, we're going to be at E3 this year, it would have been understandable. But I also feel like
E3 is becoming wholly irrelevant.
Yeah, it totally is, because even Microsoft, they have their own little Xbox events, but also while they are at E3, they don't have booth space at E3.
Yeah, they don't.
No, they have their own presentation theater.
Oh, right.
That has booths set up that is open during E3 that people can also go. It's near the same convention center that E3 is at, that people can go to. And
see, all they did, they just copied Devolver, man. Devolver sets up in a parking lot across from E3, and then everybody drops out. Nintendo doesn't go anymore. Microsoft's got their own space. They're all just
Devolver's trendsetters.
They're riding the coattails of Devolver, greatest video game publisher of all time. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems to me as though if there was ever a year for them to do it, this would be the year. But you are right in that I feel like Nintendo has gotten, I mean, with the directs, right? They can make a thing that is as polished as an E3 video, but just like focused on the one game they want to build hype for.
Yeah, and I mean, Nintendo still goes to E3. They still have their booth.
Yeah,
and even so I mean, it's kind of, it's not completely irrelevant, but it kind of is at the same time.
Yeah, it's also the sort of thing where if Sony decides they want to do a PS5 live stream, they could just do that during E3. They could just, like set up a set that they would have had to transport to Los Angeles and just stream from their offices.
Oh, yeah, no.
A whole PS5
They'll probably do exactly what they did last year, which they did have a state of play thing.
Yeah. I still think that Nintendo's better at it. I still think Nintendo is doing a better job at it than, because those Sony state of play things,
they're not great.
They're like 12 minutes of trailers, and
usually they're not good trailers.
They're not very good trailers.
And they're not showing anything we really care about.
Yeah. So if you were planning on going to E3 to get your hands on PlayStation 5, don't bother, or maybe do bother, or maybe just check. Maybe don't take what I'm saying on this podcast for it. Maybe check it out.
But they're skipping E3.
But they are skipping E3. They're at least not doing a conference.
I honestly feel like by not going to E3 last year, they saw no change in anything, and they just went, all right, well, we'll skip it this year too, and if somehow our sales of the PS5 are impacted by us not being at E3, then we'll go next year.
It's also I didn't even think about this, but what's also a really interesting potential is that like if they're going to have PS5 hardware, but if they don't have any first-party launch games for the PS5, they just give the hardware to the people who are going to be showing it off at E3 anyway, right?
Yeah.
So the Godfall developers will have a booth with the PlayStation 5 where you can play Godfall. They don't have to go. They don't have to hand PlayStations to people. They're just like, here's your dev kit. Show off the games for our platform. Put this PlayStation 5 logo on the side of it. Get the fuck out of my face. Like, we don't need to go. What are we going to do? We're going to set up a booth that has all these third-party games. In fact, I remember when Jason and I went to E3, and that was like very early in the PS4 slash right before it came out or something around there. And it was all garbage, right? I mean, like the PS4 launched with like Knack 2 and like Black Site Retribution, some kind of like multiplayer shooter. So they had all these PlayStation 4 set up, but there wasn't. It was like, I mean, this is fine, but like there was some time that they needed to get the actual games out. In any case, speaking of PlayStation 5 games, last time that this was 2 podcasts ago, Microsoft announced that for the Xbox Series X, that's the name of it?
Yes.
The Xbox X, for the first year, they're not going to have console exclusives for the Xbox Sex is that all those games will be compatible back to the Xbox One
Yes.
and the Xbox One X.
So if you don't want to upgrade directly to the Series X and you buy the game on the Xbox One, when you get your Xbox One Series X, it'll be working on that console as well.
Yes.
And, if you do buy the Series X and you happen to buy the game and for whatever reason you decide to go back to your Xbox One, that game's still there as well.
Yep. Well, according to I don't take a lot of rumor news, but according to Jason Schreier, who's usually pretty reliable.
Yeah, no, he's pretty good.
PS5 ain't playing that game. PS5 games are going to be PS5 games, and they're not going to be playable on your PlayStation 4. So when the PlayStation 5 comes out, you're going to need that to play those games. There's going to be a specific delineation. I mean, there's obviously going to be like that weird crossover time that we see where there's like games coming out for both the PS5 and the PS4, and it just looks better on the PS5.
Yeah. So I think... I really think that Sony is sticking with it. No console generation.
Yeah.
This is a new console. It's not compatible with the previous console. This is new generation iteration as it's always been.
Right.
I think Microsoft is trying to blur that line to where it's more like a PC and Series, again, because we've all speculated that Series X is not talking about one specific console. It's talking about a iPhone 9
iteration,
the iPhone 8.
Yes.
It's the same. They're getting away from that. This is the new generation. It's just this is a version of this console. Mm-hmm. At some point you're gonna have to upgrade, but you don't have to upgrade right away, but it does the same thing as all the others. I think
Microsoft has been pretty smart because they've been really veering out. And I mean, this is the time we talk about Game Pass, right? Is that how Game Pass to me, before Game Pass started putting games on Game Pass, my Xbox One X was the launch one, and I probably pulled it out like 4 times a year to look at like Sea of Thieves, New Gears of War, right? Like those things when they came out. But now it's like, next week Plague Tale Innocence is coming to the Xbox One X, and like my Xbox One X is a little bit better at 4K than the PS4. My PS4 Pro is. It doesn't struggle as much. Yeah, so like I'll probably plug it in and maybe check that game out, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, we were actually talking. Amanda and I were talking about the other day when she had asked me which do I think we're going to buy first, Xbox One Series or Xbox Series X or the
PS5.
The PS5, and I said, while it partially depends on what launch games there are, if only for the Xbox One Game Pass, it may be an Xbox Series X just because of that.
I think I'm definitely going to go with the PS5 because I have a year. Because especially for Rage Select the Show, I can probably show games on the Xbox One X that I have. Yeah. That is still going to be pretty good looking, right? It's middle of the road. It's not like the low tier. It's not like trying to run them on the S, the discless S or whatever.
The Xbox One all digital. Oops, all digital.
Yes. So anyway, if that factors into y'all's thoughts and fears and dreams and whatnot, that's what's going on with Sony. Speaking of giant console manufacturers, John, let's talk about the Google Stadia. Oh, man.
They're not a console manufacturer. They don't make a console.
Google Stadia is its own console, John. You don't even have to have a box. It's a boxless console launch. It's the greatest console launch in all of history, said no one ever. They announced that they're going to have 120 games this year with 10 exclusive launch titles for the Google Stadia. They're also going to be adding a bunch of new features. And I think they said that in the first quarter, they're going to have 14 new games or something like that. But this was also coupled to a story that was 2 weeks ago, and then this was also coupled to a story about how the when you bought the founder pack, you got 3 months free of Stadia, and that the renewal rates are 30% of that, that people just aren't doing it, just ain't having it, and so seems like Google did. They're asking too much, right? Because I went online and I was like, has the web version, play this in a web browser, come out yet? I'll try it on the web, right? I mean, maybe sign up for a month or whatever. And it's like, no, it hasn't. It still hasn't. It's been 3 months, and you have to buy the $130 founder package that comes with 3 free months of the like 4K Stadia service. But then you have to pay monthly for that service from Google, and then you have to buy $60 games on top of that. And it's just like, dude, this is not a good value. I mean, like, I can get a console for $300, and you can buy an Xbox One X with Game Pass. You get a lot of games for a couple $100, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, this whole thing is where you have to have the Chromecast Ultra. If you're trying to do it piecemeal, you're gonna have to pay extra for the controller, and man. So in any case, the best console of all time is still around, John. And if they put it on the browser, I will try it and see if it's as bad as everybody says it is, or if it's not as bad as everybody says it is. But they really need some kind of Game Pass setup, right? The whole like subscription fee plus $60 for an intangible game that you don't have a physical copy of is kind of redundant.
No, I agree with that. The biggest problem here, and this is coming from some knowledge of this, is that when you have where Microsoft and even Sony have a little bit of advantage because they have their own internal studios.
Yeah.
So by saying, you pay for this and the subscription, and you get every first party Microsoft title, day and date,
right,
as part of this package, like there's a guaranteed like quality to that.
Yeah.
And when you're some other company like Google or I don't know, just some other company or whatever, and you want to do a streaming subscription service, to get the licenses from all the different companies, because a lot of those companies, they don't, if they're not getting like the $60 like buy of that game, one-time purchase of that game, then they want an exorbitant amount of money to cover that loss. And most companies, unless they are a Microsoft or a Sony, aren't going to be willing to pony up that money.
Well, what's funny is that Google should be able to. They are not a poor company.
No, they're not.
Like, they need to pull that Epic Game Store bullshit and pull some exclusives, right? And make it so that, like, you want to play Resident Evil 3 on the PC, it's only on Stadia. I think that would probably let's see. I'm kind of like half and half on that, because like from a business perspective, they need a reason to funnel people in. And like there were some news stories that I cut about how much money Epic Game Store made last year. Like that tactic of buying the exclusives, people don't like it. It paid off for them. Like they cashed that check and it worked. I think though that if, Resident Evil 3 was exclusive to Google Stadia, that people would try to burn down Google's headquarters. Like, no, I don't want to play this game on this piece of shit, like, streaming platform.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anyway, on top of all that, we also got news this week that the Xbox One Insiders program will let anybody in it try out xCloud if you have a compatible Android phone and you're in the Insiders program, and then that'll be rolling out to people pretty soon. So,
nice.
If you do want to try streaming stuff to other stuff, Microsoft will let you do it. So, let's see. What else do I got here? I've forgotten all these stories. Yes, this actually ties into a lot of the other stuff that we've been talking about. Speaking of PlayStation 4 games, we got an interesting report 2 weeks ago that Horizon Zero Dawn is coming to the PC.
Yes.
Which is very strange, because it's like the first time. This is kind of to me like the Master Chief Collection coming to PC. A lot of those PlayStation exclusives have not crossed over.
Yeah.
So this is a very interesting development. I saw a lot of people on Twitter being weird about how this was like the end of console exclusivity, and it's like, well, this is like 2 years after Horizon Zero Dawn came out. Like, if they announced that this was coming out, but there actually was some rumble that more of the PS4 games were going to be eventually rolling into the PC space. I don't know. Are we reaching the end of console exclusivity? It seems like it. I mean, Halo's on the PC. Mario and Sonic are at the Olympics together. Like,
and there's some Microsoft first-party Microsoft games appearing on the Switch.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe eventually it'll make all the PC Master Race people super happy, because they'll finally be able to play those games.
Yeah.
Let's see. From there, We got another great story full of wonderful thumbs up excitement, and that is that Half-Life Alyx is coming out pretty soon. But until Half-Life Alyx comes out, if you want to get caught up, Valve has made Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 and all the expansions free on Steam from now until when Alyx comes out. So if you haven't played those, you want to go back and play Half-Life,
I do actually
play 'em.
I do appreciate that, because if I know they said that no delays are going to happen, like they've come out and said there will be no delays, it will release when it said we released. But if a delay was to happen, like that's more of an incentive them for it to not happen, because they don't want to keep giving out this game for free. These games for free. Having said that, all of these games are well over 10 years old.
And how much do they even cost brand new? Like if you were to buy them, I don't think you're buying Half-Life 2 for $60.
Yeah,
at this
I don't
point.
think you're buying Half-Life 1 for $60.
Well, that's true as well. So hey, if you ever want to go back and get your Half-Life on, find out where all this shit got started, boom, you can do it. It's pretty easy. Another thing that I think that you'll be super excited about, John.
Oh, me? Yeah, sure.
Is that Bethesda is letting people into Fallout 76 beta servers to test the Wastelanders expansion.
Why would I be excited about that?
You wouldn't. I just wanted to get your hopes up.
Oh.
I really only put this on here. This is actually one of the few times where I'm going to say, good. It's good that they're beta testing this feature instead of rolling it out, and then I get a week worth of news where it's broken, and then people point out that it's broken, and then they ban the people that pointed out it was broken and ask them to write them apology letters, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I don't know. When the Wastelanders update comes out, is that going to make Fallout 76 good?
No.
I think it's going to make it mediocre.
It's going to stay exactly as enjoyable or not enjoyable as you currently feel it is.
Yeah. And then let's see. We're going to skip this one. Joe Biden's it's just Joe Biden. Joe Biden called a bunch of game developers little creeps, and that they make murder simulators, and he's talking like an old man because he's a fucking old man. Yeah, which is not to say this is like me saying so vote for Trump, because remember that he had that whole White House thing where they showed the montage of Call of Duty, and he's like, the murder simulator. They all fucking talk about him like they're training children to be psychotic animals.
My biggest, I guess, insult about that whole murder trailer, there was no Mortal Kombat in it.
Yeah.
How could they leave out Mortal Kombat?
How dare you?
Yeah, how dare they?
Jack Thompson flogged Mortal Kombat for a decade and a half.
And the latest Mortal Kombat is the bloodiest, most gruesome thing.
It really is. It really is. Speaking of,
to leave it out.
Speaking of shock, horror, and gruesome bloodiness, Shenmue 3 is getting some updates.
Shock, horror, and gruesome bloodiness.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that was in Shenmue 3.
So I just want to point this out just to go, God, I hate this game.
I do appreciate that the subject line of the article you pulled up says Shenmue 3 gets much needed skip conversation option.
Yeah, apparently the thing was that anytime you talk to an NPC, they would say the thing that they said that was the filler text, and there was no way for you to skip past that.
Yeah, no.
You just watch it happen, and before you could do anything in the game. And considering that at least from the beginning part of that game, the first 2 hours were just fucking talking to this guy and talking to that guy and talking to this lady, she tells you to go talk to a kid, that kid tells you to go talk to that guy over there. Cool. Way to get caught up to 30. You do that in NES games, dude. This is not a new option. I don't like Shenmue. Anyway,
I noticed.
Let's talk about trailers. So speaking of, we were talking about Godfall earlier. Godfall had 6 seconds of leaked footage that came out last week that was apparently from an older beta build, and people were ragging on it. So the developer said, look, this is from an older beta build. Here's the actual trailer, but this is not indicative of what the game actually looks like on the console. So there's a 1-minute Godfall trailer, which is the PS5 looter slasher that came out, that was announced during the Game Awards.
It looks like Too Human, but in high def.
It looks like Too Human. I don't know. Too Human meets Dark Souls, but multiplayer. I don't know. It just looks very generic to me. This is one where I feel like I need the story trailer where it's and then the darkness came, and knights have been around for thousands of years defending the shores of heaven. I don't know.
Also calling it a looter slasher, I'm like, isn't that just Diablo?
One would think. I don't know. It looks like, it kind of looks like Diablo, like zoomed in almost a little bit. I don't know. It's not doing anything for me, which is not to say that it's going to be bad, but just I ain't seen anything that really gets my blood pumping out of this one.
They really haven't done a good marketing campaign with this game.
I mean, we've seen two things of it so far, and it's mostly just been like, look how shiny it is, and it's like, dude, we're past that point. Like, particle effects don't do anything for me anymore. I've seen particle effects. I've seen particle effects you wouldn't believe. However, it's a good actual. It's a good comparison because we had this trailer for Godfall that did nothing for me, and then this kind of like nothing burger trailer for Project Mara, which is the next thing from Ninja Theory. It's like one computer screen, one hallway, a lady's face, and like a monster face. And I'm like, yes, please, I'm all in. After
it's invoking them PT vibes.
Well, for me, it's kind of like Hellblade, but not so filthy.
But modern.
Yeah. I'm really into this. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's about. It's very, very weird, but it's my kind of weird. So I don't know. And as you point out, that's 3 different games that they're making.
Yeah.
This and then Hellblade 2 and God, I really should have looked it up when we were talking about it earlier. That Xbox One like 4v4 melee
Overwatch clone.
Yeah, but like weird with it's like an old lady in a battle chair.
Yeah, and it's all like like melee combat instead of like guns.
I bet it's on their YouTube channel. Yeah. Which doesn't look bad. Bleeding Edge.
That's Edge.
Let's see. From there, we had a trailer for Doom Eternal.
Yeah, looked like more Doom.
A little bit more Doom. I'm trying real hard. There's a part of me that there's like just a knee-jerk reaction of just like, well, it can't be as good as the last one because they fucked up Doom so much over the years. And like, I don't know, man. Look at all this new stuff. There's like a snow level and it's on Earth, and like there's an article that there's going to be a lot of platforming in it, and I'm just like, I don't know. That doesn't sound like what I came to Doom for. But then I was negative about the previous one and it ended up being one of my favorite games of all time. So the one thing I found really weird about this trailer, though, is that, correct me if I'm wrong, John, but Doom 2016 didn't have any cutscenes that were outside of the first-person perspective of the Doomslayer. And here there's a bunch of them. Like, we actually see the Doomslayer's head/face through the mask, which is a little weird to me because, like,
I want to say, and I could be entirely wrong here, I want to say that they did that stuff in the trailer the last time. Like, there was some trailer stuff with that.
Okay. I don't remember that, but, it's been a long time.
But, like, when you actually play the game, it's like it's all first-person in-game.
Because that was just one of the things that was so awesome about Doom 2016 was that the character had no dialogue, but, like, you really got a sense of what the Doomslayer was all about. So I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out pretty soon. I liked Doom 2016. I'm hoping Doom Eternal is good. Let's see. We got a trailer for Resident Evil 3, Nemesis trailer that showed a little bit more Nemesis. When I was watching this, I was struck by the fact that they showed the still frame for Nemesis and he had a nose.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, "Ugh, that's weird looking." And then it was here we're actually like seeing gameplay. And I'm like, oh, that's right. When Nemesis is hunting you, you don't have time to be like, your nose is stupid, because you're just like, ah!
Yeah, you're like, oh, shit.
I don't know. I think this looks really good. And a lot of it comes from the weird thing that I never played Resident Evil 3. And so this will be my first time of really playing Resident Evil 3.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to this a lot. Do we know if Capcom got a second thing this year?
Second thing?
Well, we got RE3. I don't think there's anything on anything big on the horizon for Street Fighter. Devil May Cry doesn't have any new announcements, or at least none that I've heard about.
There hasn't been any Devil May Cry announcements.
When we haven't heard hide nor hair of anything else from them, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Be interested to see if they put out one other thing this year, because I think 2 years ago it was Street Fighter V, one of the Street Fighter V releases, and then RE7 was that?
I think also it might have been the year before it, but also Frank's big package or the Frank's the Dead Rising.
Oh, Dead Rising 4, right?
Yeah,
man, I would okay. I'd like to see a Dead Rising in this engine. I thought Dead Rising 3 was amazing. Like
for Dead Rising, yeah. 4 was okay.
Yeah,
4 was just.
You're very conflicted about 4.
4 was okay.
Okay. All right. Speaking of okay, we also got a trailer for the Joker.
In the new MK
in
game,
the new Mortal Kombat. Yeah. It's very strange to me that this Joker doesn't seem like he's based on anything. Like, it doesn't seem like the animated series Joker. It doesn't seem like I guess it would. You couldn't really have a Mortal Kombat character based on the Joaquin Phoenix Joker.
Yeah.
That would be just,
Yeah, it's not really. It's a new, like, the design of it. I think is like a new take, or not a new take, but it's like a new modeled version. Obviously, the voice is the same Joker from the Injustice games.
Yeah. I feel like the Joker in the Injustice games looked better than this guy, though.
It did.
Like, there's just kind of a weird, off-putting thing, which kind of sucks because all the rest of the stuff, like, NetherRealm's done a great job with, like, Terminator, Alien, Predator, Jason Voorhees. They've done a good job with a lot of these characters. Whereas this one, it's like the move set seems really strange.
Yeah.
I don't know. Considering that they managed to do it in Injustice, it's just kind of strange that it seems like they had a really hard time with it here. So I don't know. There's also going to be some skins where it's like the Baraka's Killer Croc, and I think Cassie Cage is getting like a Harley Quinn outfit. And
she might already have it.
She might already have it. Anyway.
I do appreciate the finisher thing with the friendship.
The fatality that's supposed to be a friendship, and then it turns into a fatality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. There was a launch trailer for Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE Encore. Now that I think about it, we're not even going to talk about that because we already have dojos up for it. Most of the footage of this trailer.
Great intros.
Yes. Is that is all your wife, man.
I know. It was 100% her.
Them wigs.
When you messaged her saying, "Hey, if you got anything that could be used for this," I was like, "What's going on?" She's like, "Oh, Jeff asked if I had anything to do for an intro for Tokyo Mirage Pop Session." She's like, "That's a Pop Idol thing, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Okay." Came out with everything that she brought over, and I was like, "You knew exactly what you were gonna get." Once I confirmed that it was a Pop Idol thing, and she's like, "Yes, I did."
Yep. Let's see. We also got a Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme versus Maxi Boost On, which appears to be like some kind of. It seems like a virtual on meets Gundam thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like 2v2 online fights that's coming out pretty soon with a bunch of different Gundams. It's funny how last year I got really into the super slow online multiplayer versus Gundam.
Yeah.
And this just looks like too chaotic and frenetic for my money. It's just the screen is just full of goddamn lights and colors, and like 18
It does
different
totally
bars.
look like virtual on though.
Yeah. Let's see. We also got both a trailer and a sign up for the beta for Disintegration. There's going to be a closed technical beta the January 28th, 29th, and then an open one 31st through February 1st. This is that my old Halo multiplayer guys. It's kind of like this skiff action flying game. I don't know. I've kind of got a little bit more back into online multiplayer than I used to be, John. I might give this one a try and see how it goes. It looks like it could be kind of fun. It at least looks really interesting.
Yeah.
So
It looks different.
and then we had the briefest of brief trailers, teasers for Observer 2. Bloober is making Observer 2, which makes sense because last year they did Layers of Fear 2 and Blair Witch both came out. And everybody really liked Observer, except for Amanda and I, that it made us physically nauseous to play. But maybe we didn't give it enough time / whatever. I have not cared for Bloober's games outside of the first Layers of Fear. But I don't know. All right. Well, let's do a few more here, and then we'll finish it up. Hey, if you're still playing Jedi Fallen Order, all of the pre-order content was unlocked, so it's like some
nice.
different lightsaber colors and some ship paint and some paint for your dude. So if you're into that game, you can totally go and get some more.
So are there people?
colors.
So and this is just you have it.
Yes.
So it
It's
doesn't
just an
matter
update.
if you pre-ordered or not. You get all the stuff.
Yes.
I wonder how the people who pre-ordered are feeling about that.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't care one way or another. I'll be honest. I'm just curious if there's some like weird online hate for it.
I'm wondering if after like 8 months, that game's going to be really good. Like they've already done work on the platforming and the combat mechanics, and they're adding new cosmetics in, and then it's like this April we're upgrading the graphics on all platforms so that it looks really good and it runs really smoothly, and like if they catch up with it to where like by next Christmas, and then there's like 2 free DLCs that you can get for blah 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 blah. But we also got something. This is, I feel like, relevant for nobody except for me, but I've been watching the development of Children of Light, which is the new Genova Chen game, which is the guy who made Journey, that game company game, and it's about like little people flying around in the air and stuff. This game actually launched last year only on cell phones. So they said that they were going to be on cell phones and that eventually it would be on the PC as well. But I went and checked before we started recording, and it is not on the PC yet. But last week there was an announcement that it's also going to be on the Switch and the PlayStation 4. I really love all of that game company's games, and I've been waiting for a new one since Journey. And the fact that this was like only a mobile game bummed me out, because I was and not specifically that, but I think it launched first on iOS, and I was just like, well, goddamn, I want to play this game already.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of elements of Journey in this.
Yeah, it's got a very like multiplayer type of thing, and yeah, it's got I think one of the big things for it is that you can just like free fly kind of wherever you want to go. So kind of like maybe Journey meets Flower, the way you can just kind of go wherever you want to. But I'm still really interested in this. I feel like nobody else is interested in it, like that everybody forgot that game company exists.
Yeah.
And they don't know. I've been watching trailers for this game for 3 years now. All right, so now we got some fun stuff. John, I have a bone to pick with the Epic Game Store.
Oh.
And it has nothing to do with their business practices or Chinese ownership.
All right.
Some motherfuckers, they made Ninja got his own Fortnite skin. Where's Puppet Jeff's Fortnite skin? God damn it!
Well, you gotta be playing the Fortnite.
I played it one time. I didn't really like it very much.
Well, that's the problem.
Well,
they need someone who's going to enhance the Fortnite brand.
Oh, Puppet Jeff will enhance the Fortnite brand.
Well,
don't you worry about that.
Well, then you better get your ass on it.
Anyway, yeah. It turns out that they've got like 3 or 4 different of the top Twitch, or I guess he's on what's that?
Mixer,
yeah. I want to say Gloober, but that's not right. So yeah, Ninja has his own skin for Fortnite. A few other people have their own skin for Fortnite. I'm telling you right now, Puppet Jeff, you get those noodle arms in there, hold the machine gun, and just noodling around. You can take his shirt off. He takes his shirt off all the time.
Yeah.
You want the blonde wig? You want idle Jeff? You want naked Jeff? I got a lot of different Jeffs over here. A lot of different microtransaction options. Epic. Just call me. Also, I'm cheap. I'll sell for cheap. Like, I would almost give it to you just to see it in the game, and then have people online go, "What the fuck is that?" And then, like, yeah. Actually, you know what I really want is for it to be Puppet Jeff, but then that's like Puppet Jeff is the top half, and then the bottom half is just a model of me, Jeff, running, like all squatted down, like with my hand up the back of Puppet Jeff, and then Puppet Jeff has the gun and everything, but below it, it's just like me hunkered over to one side.
Pretty entertaining. If anyone out there makes is like a modder or whatever, makes character models and stuff, you should totally make that, because that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then people would be like, "What the fuck? You'd win all your games, Fortnite people. You demand it." Next up, let's talk about Gary Whitta briefly.
Gary Whitta?
Yeah, Gary Whitta was the writer for Rogue One.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
Yeah, he came out and he said, "Hey, I want to make a Star Fox movie. I want to write a Star Fox movie because check out this like gritty art for Star Fox that somebody made that's like this dark Star Fox, and I want to write a movie, and I hope at least Slippy dies by the end. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Hopefully all of them will die because he did write Rogue One. But this is like 2 weeks ago, and then apparently last week he was doing an AMA because apparently Gary Whitta is just like bored and doesn't do anything anymore. And somebody on there asked him like if he could make a video game into a screenplay, what he'd want to do, and he said, "I totally would do a Control movie." And I'm like, I think that would be a good. I actually think that Control would make for a good movie. And what the interesting part though was that he said that, and then Remedy's head of communication just said, "Let's talk," and like DM me. So I don't know. Maybe Control will become a franchise where we have to every 2 years hear about how they're going to start making it now. Oh, just kidding. Everybody dropped out. Nobody wants to make it anymore. Oh, they're making it. Oh, nope, they're not making it anymore. They're making Max Payne 2 instead.
With Mark Wahlberg still in the title role.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And then we've got a couple more quick ones. This is just a heartwarming story we saw of a guy who has a daughter with this condition that makes it so it's very difficult for her to play games, and he basically built this custom rig so that she could play Breath of the Wild by connecting. Apparently, there's like a mod that can be used to attach the Xbox accessibility controller.
Yeah,
and then you can literally connect that onto a Switch controller and then use that to filter the inputs back up to the game. So this dad made his daughter, it's like a tackle box. It's got 2 big joysticks in the middle and then just a whole row of buttons around the edges, and all the buttons do different things because the controller's too small for her to be able to accurately get. She's got some kind of condition that is definitely making it harder for her to do stuff. But it's a real heartwarming video because she just seems like super, super happy that she can play the game. So.
Yeah, it's very heartwarming, and that's pretty awesome.
Yep.
And I love the fact that, it's something Microsoft did that someone then modified to work on another console. And I actually think that controller that Microsoft made is...
It's great.
It's great. I think it's a great idea, and I wish more companies would adopt that idea. Hell, I would even love to see, like, since Nintendo and Microsoft seem to have some sort of relationship right now, for them to go, hey, why don't you release some attachment that will make work on our... that like if you one of the mod kits for it could also be an attachment that will let it work on the Nintendo Switch.
Just like a firmware update for the Switch. It's just like this thing works on the Switch.
Yeah.
I mean, PlayStation and Sony and Microsoft have a relationship. They're working on the weird stuff as well.
Yeah.
I think like if you don't, it seems to me like if you don't want to make something like this, just let the Microsoft one work. Right?
Yeah, because I think that's nothing but great for gaming.
Yeah,
because it lets everyone play video games, and I think it's a great thing. That I think it's great. That's all I can say.
Yeah, me too. You know what else I think is great though, John?
Queso,
the goose. Well, obviously queso. Come on. The Goose, Untitled Goose Game Goose, and what's even better, the thing that would be actually close to getting me to play Dragon Ball Kakarot. Just kidding, I'm never actually going to do that. Is that somebody on the PC modded the Goose from Untitled Goose Game into Dragon Ball Kakarot. There's actually one that's also like CJ from San Andreas, but I like the Goose Game Goose because he has no animations, so it's just this. It's just the goose, and he's just standing 100% stock still, and then he goes into battle. And he doesn't have like a walkie animation, so he's just slide all over the place. But it's the best when he's in combat with somebody because he's just standing still and then lasers are coming out of him, and then he'll dodge to the side and like fly up in people's faces and attack them. And I love it.
Yeah. I watched the trailer as well, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah. I would totally do that. What I'd really love is a total conversion where they did put animations in for the goose and then also replace all of Goku's dialogue with just honks from the Untitled Goose Game. I would legitimately pay $60 to play Untitled Dragon Ball game, I guess. Untitled Dragon Ball Goose. Anyway, that's it for part 1. We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to do some questions. So everybody stick around, and we'll see you in just a second.
Hey,
John,
Yes.
it's questions time. I realize that this is the first time you got to answer any questions in 2020.
Yeah.
My question to you is, are you ready to answer the questions?
Always.
God damn it. One of these days. I'm just going to break into your work. Say, Johnny, you ready to answer questions?
I mean, I'll be at home in my pajamas, and I'll be like, yeah, sure. That's all I do at work is answer questions.
Damn it. I need to find you guys got to write in and tell me where I can find John where he's not ready to answer questions. Like a mouthful of burrito. That's like break into Chipotle and be like, John Sitton, are you ready to answer questions? You're like, yes. Like, God. Anyway, mail@ringside.com is the email address for you to send in your questions. And our first question this week comes in from Patty McFatty, who says, hi, Jeff and John.
Hi.
Are there any hilarious customer service stories you'd like to share with the listeners? The holiday season always makes me think back to my time in retail during college. I worked at a Best Buy in a large suburb of Chicago for almost 5 years. We once had a customer storm in and demand that we return some open $20 shovelware casino game. He was furious because the local library had just scolded him and forbade him from installing it on their computers. When he was told that we wouldn't refund it because it was open, he got even more mad and demanded that we sell him a computer at an absurd discount that would play the game. Another associate had to come help him because the first two had run away in order not to openly laugh in his face. And it says, P.S. Red Dead 2 or Dishonored 2? I can't decide which to start first after beating Horizon Zero Dawn. Best regards, Patty McFatty. Dishonored 2 is significantly shorter than Red Dead Redemption 2. I think it really depends on how you feel about Red Dead Redemption 1. Like, Red Dead Redemption 2 is really a great game if you're into the Red Dead Redemption universe.
Yeah.
Dishonored 2...
I guess it would also figure on how did you feel about Dishonored. Like, for me, I didn't really care for Dishonored.
Yeah.
So I didn't bother with Dishonored 2.
Yep.
My choice would be Red Dead Redemption 2. But, you know, it's also possible that maybe you don't want more of Red Dead, but you just want some more fucking Dishonored, because I know a lot of people like Dishonored.
I thought it was great, personally. Yeah, I don't know. Dishonored 2 definitely shorter. Red Dead 2 bigger. So I always try to beat the short stuff first and then save the long stuff for later.
Get that.
Because I can make the progress and get through it. So, do you have any crazy customer service stories you'd like to share, John?
Probably.
Yeah.
I tend to forget them very quickly because they annoy me. So, I'm sure if I went on my Facebook and looked at my feed, I'd probably run across a few that would jog my memory.
Mm-hmm.
But most of them just infuriate me and cause me to lose faith in everything.
Yeah.
You know, and then these, mine is more of a phone customer support. So
Sure.
I don't really deal with people face to face. Like what the Patty emailed in about. But it's just like it's
people get real horsey on the phone. Like, I've done both of them, and people, like, there's always the possibility in real life that you might piss the other person off enough that they might punch you in the face. Whereas I feel like people get real fearless over the phone.
Well, it's funny because I do phone support, I do email support, and I do chat support. And it's funny because chat support, or not chat support, email support's kind of whatever. Mostly it's an email, it's one and done in most instances.
Yeah.
Phone support, people will want to argue with you and then demand to speak to your supervisor when the answer you're giving them is not satisfactory. Like I've had customers literally ask a question and I answer the question and then they ask the question again and I answer the question again with the same answer. Then they get upset and try to, what if this hypothetical unrelated thing happened? How would, and then ask the question a third time. It's like,
the same answer
as before, and then they're like, well, you're being very rude. I want to speak to your manager.
Yeah.
You know, like that's typical. That's whatever. Chat is always annoying because what
eggplant emojis?
No,
too many eggplant emojis?
There's no emojis with the our system doesn't allow for emojis in the chat system that we use, but it's more annoying because people want to argue more. Because they're in front of a computer and people argue more on the internet when they're typing, like through Twitter or forum posts or things like that. So they're more inclined to argue with a person.
Okay.
I feel, and will, in a turn, want to argue down to the minutia details that don't matter. And just get really like keep like asking questions. Like they don't ask the same question over and over again. They want to break the question down into like 6 different topics and like then go into the most smallest minutia detail on that topic in an effort to try to trick you into doing what they want.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, because we physically can't do the thing you want. Okay, so let's do this, and that'll get you to do the thing that I want. No, because we physically can't do the thing you're asking.
Yeah. It's funny because I did phone support for a long time and retail support, and I have a lot of I've gotten mad people, like I had a cell phone. I have insurance on my cell phone, and I dropped my cell phone last year and broke it. And then like 6 months later, I was like, I need to get a new cell phone. This one's so fucked up at this point. And I filled out a claim for it, and they were like, well, when did you drop it? And I was like, 6 months ago. They were like, well, if it wasn't damaged within the first 30 days, we won't cover it. And then I tried talking to my actual phone carrier, and they kind of jerked me around a little bit. But like, I know that the person on the other end of the line, like I often wonder what it is about support. Maybe it's just that people are upset, right? Something is happening where it's like, I'm not trying to trick you. Yeah. Like I have a set of rules. I'm not making this up. Like I'm not just making up what happens. Like I have a set of rules and I must follow those rules. It's not like they're just like, it's like the first day you go in to work at, fucking phone support for Joe's Crab Shack or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, John, here's your phone. Just do whatever. You'll figure it out. We don't really have a guideline here, so just like listen and then see what people want. I don't know. You just promise them whatever you feel is good. Like most jobs have like 6 months worth of or 6 weeks worth of training where they're like, if this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. You're not allowed to just make shit up because you don't have any power over that. And a lot of times, even if you wanted to make shit up, there's a very specific pipeline of how like problems get solved, and you're not allowed to just be like, hey, guy in another state, will you just do me this weirdo favor because some person wants to break the rules for some reason? I don't know. It's not, like I said, unfortunately, I don't really have any like I said off the top of my head, because like I said, I tend to, when I get out of work, I filter them out. That's why usually if you see me post about it on Facebook, I literally just ended that conversation with a customer, and it's like in between work, and it's still fresh in my head because I'm gonna forget it later that day, because I tend to. You can't hang on to that shit, man. You can't hang on. Ooh, no way.
Like, don't get me wrong. There's some funny shit. Like I remember, like back in the, and the only reason I remember this stuff is because it was back at my first job, which was also phone support for an internet service provider. I mean, we had people who literally thought that we could see them through their monitor screen. And I'm not talking like screen, like see their screen. I'm talking like actually see them. Mm-hmm. Like there was a guy that would hold up his credit card to the screen.
Oh yeah.
And he'd be like, well, you can see what credit card I'm holding, right? And I'm like, no. What are you talking about? I'm holding it up to my monitor. You can get the credit card number off of there. I'm not giving it to you. I'm not telling you what it is because I don't think this phone line is secure, but you can clearly see it on my monitor. Sir, I can't see through your monitor. Mm-hmm. That's not a thing.
Yeah, there was a legend that back in the old days when I used to work at doing support for a computer manufacturer, of this guy that bought a desktop from them. This is back when desktops were pretty expensive. Yeah. And he said that he called constantly, and he said he had this problem where if he put his hand up to his monitor, his hand would turn blue, fill with fluid, and that his bones would become as rubber, where he could bend his bones in ways they shouldn't be able to bend normally. And apparently this shit went on for like a year, where like they replaced the monitor like 4 or 5 times. They replaced the desktop. They replaced the entire computer just to like get this guy to quit calling. And he kept calling. And then he was like, I built like an aluminum, like a lead box around the monitor to contain whatever this harmful radiation that is coming out of it. I never actually talked to that guy, but apparently at the end of the day, they finally just like assigned him a specific person to be like, if you're going to continue wasting our time, you could just waste this one person's time.
I feel bad for that one person.
Yeah. There was one. I used to do Canadian support as well, and I used to do support for companies, but then also Canada, because there were so few. We were selling so few computers in Canada that it was like all business in the United States, also just regular people in Canada.
Yeah.
And there was one point where a woman called me up. This was in the Windows 95 days, and she had opened up WordPad, and the paste button was grayed out. The paste button was grayed out because she had not copied any text. And she wanted to know what was wrong with her computer where the paste button was grayed out and it wouldn't do anything. And so I tried for about 40 minutes, John, to explain to like an 80-year-old woman in Canada the functions of cut, copy, and paste in a document.
Yeah.
And she did not understand.
Yeah.
Eventually, I got her to copy some text. And then she said, "Oh, the button lit up. It's fixed now. Thank you very much. Goodbye." And I was like, No. This is going to happen again the next time you open it up. One of the most frustrating conversations of my entire life. Like, just trying to explain to people what the hell. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of it, too, though, is when I had worked at a laptop repair place here in Austin. And, I mean, there was probably craziness that happened.
Yeah.
Because we were in the university, right?
Yeah.
So we had so many people that spilled beer on their laptop. So many people. There's one poor kid that brought in a laptop where he saved up all summer for it, and then he joined a frat. And as their prank, they like kicked down his door and threw an open bucket of paint into his room.
Oh.
And most of it went right onto the front of the open laptop. And I spent like 3 hours cleaning like yellow Home Depot paint out of the front of a laptop. And then it was like, I got about 50% of the way through and was like, I took it apart and it was like, oh no, this is dead. This is just dead. But I don't know. A lot of times, you get difficult people, but you just kind of, like you said, you just kind of tune it out because
you can't hold on to that.
You're
stuff.
also just meeting these people on the worst day of their life, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's like, and I know, and I am always trying to help these people, but it's just sometimes they call up, like you said, they're angry, they don't want to listen, they think you're trying to scam something out of them.
Yeah,
which is also always the weird thing to me, and it's like you called me.
Yeah,
like I'm not trying to like scam you or anything. You called me.
Yep.
I'm here to help you, and I'm trying to help. And, of course, there's always going to be crazy stories with crazy people. I mean, I've worked in internet tech support back in the dial-up 56K days.
Yep.
Of the late 90s, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked at computer companies supporting printers, projectors, computers, laptops, Dell DJs, MP3 players, all these sorts of things. I've supported all that, and then like I've also worked for a video game company, supporting MMOs and desktop games and stuff like that.
It all kind of runs together eventually.
Yeah. Like I funny enough, I remember things from my 56K, internet support, because again, it was my first job, so a lot of that stuff I held on to because it's first experience.
Right.
I vaguely remember stuff of working at Dell. Mm-hmm. Like I remember working at Dell. I don't remember what I actually did at Dell. Like I remember working there, and I remember what departments I was in. What support I did, I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Outside of what I just named off. And then I remember working at Blizzard. Mm-hmm. Don't remember a goddamn thing from Blizzard. Like all of that's gone. Like all that memory. I remember walking into buildings. I remember leaving buildings. Don't know what happened in between the hours that I was there. Current job,
I see. It's funny because I actually remember more stories of like things with coworkers, like things that happened at the job, and less the customers, because eventually the customers all kind of ran together into just this one faceless. Like don't get me wrong, it wasn't just like, I wasn't like Janine answering the phone or anything. Like, I did my best to help people, but there's only so many times that you can, tell somebody to turn off their antivirus or back up their RAID, or like, I'm going to send you a new monitor, or like, oh, it's going to be $50 to get that keyboard replaced, before it all just kind of blurs together.
But
anyway,
sorry, that's not really amusing, funny stories.
Mauricio writes in and says, "Hey guys, Mauricio here again. super short email because I'm in a rush. Have you seen Watchmen and The Mandalorian? If so, did you like it? What are your thoughts? It's from Mauricio.
I have not seen Watchmen.
Neither have I.
I have watched all of Mandalorian, though.
I did. I liked it. I thought it dipped a little bit in the middle. Middle 3 episodes were a little soft for me, but
I loved the whole thing all the way through.
yeah. Well, I mean, and when I say dip, it was like they were just not quite as good as the ones that came before.
Yeah, I'll agree. There are episodes that are purely, especially towards the end and towards the beginning, that are like definitely above the ones in the middle.
Yeah.
But it's all great. Like,
Yeah.
I loved all of it, and I can't wait for season 2 whenever that happens.
Yep. I loved it. I loved all the weird casting, Carl Weathers, Taika Waititi, all that kind of weird stuff. And what I really liked, I think I talked about it, I mentioned it briefly at the end of our spoiler cast for Star Wars, is that it really brought the Star Wars universe back to a smaller place as far as storytelling goes that was appreciated, where it wasn't about, magicians deciding the fate of the universe and like Imperial space fleets. And it was just like a guy and...
It was Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yeah, it was Lone Wolf and Cub with Boba Fett and a Yoda. So, it was great. Yeah, it was great. The one thing I would like to say, though, is I've seen a lot of people, now that we're done with the whole Star Wars thing, just be like, Jon Favreau should do the next trilogy. And I'm just like, no. I think I want him to keep doing this thing that he obviously is interested in doing and not have to do the big expansive
Also, I think even Disney has even said they're done with trilogies.
Yeah.
Like, while there will be more Star Wars movies, there will not be trilogies.
I mean, I don't know. I watched the...
And also, from what I've heard, that was kind of... Outside of... That was always the major plan, is that that this would be the trilogy. Now, I know that they also announced that Ryan Johnson was going to do a trilogy or whatever, which is now apparently up in the air. He hasn't heard anything.
I think it would be interesting if they took the Marvel model, right? Basically, but at the end of the day, I mean, I think regardless of how you feel about the Star Wars fandom, and a lot of people have a lot of feelings, John.
Yeah.
I think that the main takeaway is that somebody with a vision needs to be running. You need your Paul Feig, right? You need the person that has an idea of where they kind of want this shit to go. Or you take the DC model of just like, we're just going to hire interesting directors and say, do whatever the fuck you feel like. We don't care if it breaks anything. We don't care what canon it's in. But that if you do a story, that it needs to have somebody who knows what the fuck is going on.
And this is what I will say, and this is kind of how I feel about it. If you're going to be doing a series or a trilogy, so whether that's a series like a TV series or a series like a series of movies that are all like one story, like the trilogy or whatnot, like the trilogies, that needs to have one director or at least one
like showrunner
type thing, a person who is there to make sure that it's uniform, like the whole thing is there across the board. Because I feel like with this latest one, while there was a showrunner, didn't really feel like there was like someone making sure that it was the same story being told all the way across, and then therefore it felt a little disjointed.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it bounced in a few different directions. Yeah, which is unfortunate because, but then on the other hand, as I said a bunch of times before, I do the mental calculation on it, and like I'm just not as in love with Star Wars as I used to be. It's not as big of a thing.
Yeah,
like when I count them up, I don't like more of the Star Wars movies than I like. Like at the end of the day, when I do the math on it, like I dislike more of the Star Wars movies than I really enjoy. So, also, did you see the trailer for the Clone Wars? Did you watch the Clone Wars cartoon?
I did not watch the Clone Wars cartoon.
Okay. I watched the trailer for it. It seemed like a lot of inside baseball. I was going to put it at the beginning because the trailer came out this week, but it was like, I don't really understand what the fuck is going on in any of this.
Well, it's the final season of a cartoon series.
Right. But I mean, like the trailer didn't even tell me. I mean, it seemed to be referring to a lot of things that I should already know, where like if you watch the Clone Wars, you're like, oh shit. But having not watched the Clone Wars, I was like, okay. And that was kind of my thing. Let's see. This person didn't sign their email, so they're going to get the name Gerald. Gerald says, this is just for me. Hello, Jeff. I wanted to know what you think the best game of the Dark Souls series is and why. John, you've seen all of the Dark Souls games.
Yeah.
What's the best game of the series and why?
if we're just talking Dark Souls, and we're not including like Demon Souls or Bloodborne or whatever, Sekiro, or any of the Soulsborne style of game.
Let's start with just Dark Souls 1, 2.
Just Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3. Yeah.
Probably say the first one.
Me too. I mean, the second one was interesting, and then the third one I feel like was a lot of fan servicey rehash stuff. The first one really just told a very solid story. What if you expand it to the whole thing?
Bloodborne.
Yeah, I think for me it probably goes Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro. And I know that putting Dark Souls 3 that far down the list is going to seem weird to people, but it's like if you also took all those games and then put them up against a lot of other video games that just exist in the world, they would probably be close to the top of most games that I've played, right?
Yeah.
But in that order of enjoyment, Dark Souls is still probably the number one classic for me. Bloodborne shortly thereafter, Demon Souls kicked it all off and still holds up. In fact, there's been a rumor that the PlayStation 5, one of the launch titles, is going to be Demon Souls remake on the PS5. So you know what that means, John? We got to go back and play the remake of Demon Souls. We got to play Demon Souls all over again.
All right.
I know you've just accepted your soul's fate.
I mean, no one else is going to play him with you.
He's got the dark. John has the dark side now, where he's just resolved to his fate.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you try to be like, "Hey, Amanda, we're going to play Demon Souls or Dark Souls or whatever," she'd probably just punch you in the face.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure everybody else would probably react the same way. I'm like,
hey, Grant,
whatever.
let's play Demon Souls. Yeah, you're right. All right, let's take some questions from the Discord. This is actually an interesting question that we didn't get to last week, and we don't have to go into it in case we want to save it for another.
We didn't get any questions last week.
This was a thing. Anyway, Dan K says, "Hey, Jeff and John, you most likely will be talking about your best games of the year, and while everyone and their mama is talking about their best X of the decade, I'll keep it a little simple. What do you guys think are some of the most influential games of the decade? My choice would be the first Dark Souls game. Would love to hear what you think. Rage on for the new decade. Your patron, Dan K." We talked a little bit, or I talked with Michael a little bit about this, but I'm sure that I don't know if you've considered any kind of like of the decade.
I don't even know what games came out this decade.
Okay.
Like,
when you think of influential games,
I agree. I will say I do agree with the Dark Souls thing. I do think Dark Souls has probably been a very, not the most, but is definitely one of.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely has ushered in. I mean, even games that aren't like Souls-like, I feel like we still are seeing mechanics from that. Like the latest Zelda game had a stamina system, right? Like where you were managing your stamina in combat.
I mean,
I feel like that's a very
fucking Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally its own genre of game now.
Yeah. I think it's really, really that one has been really, really, really influential. Another one that I was thinking about was, and this may seem like a really strange one, but over the last decade, I think that GTA 5 showed that this kind of long development tail, big game, and then the multiplayer for it, that game has been just like a money-making machine.
No, I agree with that too. GTA 5 is another, because I mean, it originally came out on 360 and, right? Or am I wrong?
No, you're right. PS3 and 360. Yeah. And then they put it out on the PS4, Xbox One, and then they put it on the PC.
Yeah.
Yeah. They released that thing over the course of two consoles. And
I guarantee you, I mean, aside from the fact that we know the Xbox One Series X will be compatible with anything that came out on the Xbox One, I guarantee you there will be a GTA 5 on the next gen consoles.
Almost certainly.
If not just through backwards compatibility.
Yeah. And Red Dead. I mean, it's interesting to think that over the course of this last generation, we got the biggest Grand Theft Auto that we've ever seen, which, I feel like we've gotten far enough away from Grand Theft Auto. I mean, you remember the money? Like the sales figures in the first, like that thing it busted everything. It was like bigger than Hollywood movies.
And it stayed, that game, Grand Theft Auto 5, stayed in the top 5 games sales wise.
Yeah.
For years.
Yeah. Yes. It's insane. It is insane.
Because I remember before the Xbox One and the PS4 versions came out.
Yeah.
the Xbox 360 and the PS4 version were constantly in the top 5 sales month for the month, well after the new console generation had started.
Yeah. Let's see. This is actually a list that I made. So here's some interesting ones that I feel like I don't have seen a lot of people say. 2010 was the year that Fallout New Vegas came out. And I feel like over the course of this decade, that game has not gone away. That it's been this yardstick of like good RPGs that has had a million things compared to it. Skyrim came out in 2011. Yeah. And I think that Skyrim was also, I mean, the number of times it's been re-released.
Agreed,
and
yeah. No.
Although I don't think we'd have seen a lot of Skyrim clones. I think it's strange that Skyrim came out in 2011 and that they just kept releasing it over the course of this entire decade. Like, you'd almost call it Game of the Decade because it was just on every system.
Well, I also think that, you know, and as someone who is not a huge fan of the Elder Scrolls games, I can also say that there have been Skyrim clones. They just were nowhere near as good.
Oh yeah,
or popular. They were just they were seen for what they were, and they were half-assed. You know, so that's the reason they were able to keep re-releasing Skyrim on like every new thing, and it just did well.
This is one that I think is probably going to be pretty controversial. Gone Home was 2013.
Yeah,
I think that was a huge.
I agree with you completely.
For narrative walking simulator,
indie games as well.
Indie games.
Like that was
also the LGBT subject matter of that game. Like, real big. Like, I know a lot of people hate Gone Home, but like, I don't think you can deny the influence that it's had. As much as I don't like it, again, Destiny in 2014, I feel like was a big step in the direction of this whole games of service thing. I feel like Destiny was really the big starting off the block point for that. Even though I don't really like it very much myself, but I think it was very influential. It's funny, in 2015, I've got The Witcher 3, which I think was really like after Skyrim and Dark Souls and stuff, like The Witcher 3, I feel like really broke through this barrier of just like, what can an RPG be?
Yeah.
Is this hundreds of hours, huge choices that change the game, like good combat, good voice acting, good world, you know, all these things where I feel like it had become kind of common knowledge that you had to constrain things, right? Like Skyrim is a big game, but there's some voice acting, but I feel like there's a lot of text in there. Was there text at the bottom? Anyway, but The Witcher 3 really like pushed the boundaries of like what you could expect out of an RPG, and then the two DLCs were just so huge.
Yeah.
Overwatch in 2016.
I agree with that one too.
I maintain that Overwatch represents a quantum step forward because I think before that you were seeing a lot, like the last big multiplayer step in my opinion was for first-person shooters was Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and then everybody was trying to be Call of Duty Modern Warfare up until Overwatch, and then this whole bringing in this kind of weird Dota hero thing into the first person shooter perspective. Like I always try to think of games that had, because before I feel like there were classes, but you didn't have this like, you know, Torbjorn and Tracer are completely different characters.
Yeah.
And the idea of having a multiplayer game where your characters are completely different from each other, they play 100% different from each other as opposed to classes, right? Or kits. I just have the Switch in 2017, which I know that it's, you know, we talk about of the decade, and I think that we're probably still going to be seeing stuff going forward, but I think the Switch is huge. I think that the after the stumble of the Wii U, I feel like Nintendo really brought it back.
Yeah, I agree.
Switch. Fortnite Battle Royale 2017. I don't think like we wouldn't have the Epic Game Store if it wasn't for Fortnite just haphazardly adding Battle Royale, because Fortnite was a whole other game.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably going to be going huge into the future. And then the last one on my list was Battlefront 2 in 2017, because that really, I feel like the entire game industry was pushing on the edges of this whole loot box thing, and that Battlefront 2 in 2017 was just like the breaking point for loot boxes and monetization and that kind of thing. Like it really just broke that whole issue wide open to a point where everybody knows what it is. Senators are talking about it. There was a report last week from the National Health Service in the UK about how it's, getting kids addicted to stuff. And so, but that's what I put on my list. I'm sure there's more stuff out there. Like, when did Rock Band come out? Was that this decade? Do you think?
It might be the original Rock Band.
Let's see. 2007. So that was pre 2010. So I think we were kind of done with the plastic instrument craze in this last decade.
It tried to make a comeback and sort of did, but didn't last very long.
DJ Hero is still amazing. It's just a shame that it's very difficult to actually play because you have to have the actual hardware for it. So,
good soundtrack though.
What's that?
Good soundtrack though.
Yeah. Mike writes in and says, "Dear Jeff and John, a group of friends and I just finished our first proper D&D session. The leader of a gang of bandits that tried to make off with an important item was an extremely smug gnome who, after surrendering, was picked up by our party's tank and, at our sorcerer's request, slam dunked into his backpack full of caltrops. Yikes. Yes, I quickly searched out and played the Space Jam theme on my phone for this. What's some recent moments you've had that had you and your friends laughing in disbelief, be it playing a game or otherwise?" I haven't really played any. I mean, most of me and my friends laughing while playing a game, you all have seen.
Yes.
They've been rage select. That's been what it is.
Probably the biggest one would be the Just Dance video. Like that's just standing, like even when we're not dancing, we're talking and joking around. Like, even when we're not on mic, like we're sitting there talking and joking around. So
I think that it was pretty amazing loading up Untitled Goose Game for the first time, even though I knew what that game was, but still it was just like, this is amazing. This is incredible. Oh my God, this is awesome. You haven't done any like pen and paper RPG stuff?
I do pen and paper RPG stuff.
Yeah? You had any like big interesting things that happen? Slam dunked a gnome into a backpack full of caltrops, though. That's like a Mortal Kombat
I will
fatality.
say, I'm assuming this is Mike, like as in VHYes, right?
No,
it's not.
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe so. I think he's Spider Mike on the Discord. So.
Oh, okay. Whatever. I didn't know which Mike it was.
I don't know. He might have changed his name and I just didn't realize it. But
I could never know with people's names on there. So yeah. Okay. I was not
Michael that records.
Okay.
With us.
I was just curious. But no. Like I've had like with like Michael VHYes and a few other people. Like I've done like tabletop RPGs with like based on like Sentai, like our own like individual created stuff.
Yeah.
Where we so it's like I'm the dungeon master essentially, and then they're the rangers, and I'm like creating something. We created a game where we decided to go with a Greek mythology theme. So like all the ranger powers were based on mythological Greek creatures.
Okay.
And like cryptids.
Okay.
And the villains were the Titans that had escaped from hell, and the Zordon type character that gave them their powers and brought them all together was actually Hades, who was who decided to give kids these powers, teenagers, high schoolers, these powers to catch the Titans for him, so that the other gods didn't realize that the Titans escaped.
Okay.
So that was the plot of the entire thing.
All right.
And for whatever reason, I just started like, because I'm also the voice of all the NPC characters.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, whenever I would be Hades, I started talking like Norm Macdonald.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I just did. I'd be like, yeah, so hey Rangers, how's it going? We got this thing I need to go do over there. So just go do that. Funny as shit. Like, I didn't even mean to do it, and they just like, so you're doing Norm Macdonald? I'm like, yeah, guess I am.
Okay.
And then Michael VHYes decided that he was going to be the sixth ranger type character, which is like this extra. So you have your core group of characters that are the regular cast members, and then halfway through the season, a new character shows up.
Sure, the green dude.
Yeah. I'm just explaining for people who may not know.
Yeah.
But his ranger, who is a gold ranger, was actually Hercules, who is immortal, and had realized something is going on, and he's investigating the whole thing. And since this takes place at a high school, he joins the school as the sports coach, as the gym
Football coach. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
the gym coach. But he's totally playing Hercules like this total like meathead. It is literally the funniest goddamn thing. Like just between me doing Norm Macdonald, him being this kind of almost playing him like a more comical version of Marvel's version of Hercules.
Okay.
It was just really like just all of it was hilarious.
Okay. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Should stream that shit.
There's once the game that we were playing did a Kickstarter and they got a book, and I'm going to be getting that at some point in the future. May do something, I don't know.
Ooh, all right. Let's see. Ralph says, "Hey all, I've been working on 100% completing all the Resident Evil games. I've already completed the original 2, 3, 4, and the remake. I'm currently working on the second remake, remake of 2. And 5 on the Switch. While playing 5, my two biggest hindrances are the awful AI partner who won't stop standing in front of me when I aim and a bullshit turret level. What are some games where the AI screwed you over by being dumb? Or when a game forced you into a turret or vehicle section that brought the game to a halt? Thanks, long time fan, Ralph." I'm not a fan of turret sections in general, just in games. I mean, like, my answer to that question would be just like, pick a time when turret sections happen. The one in Dead Space where you have to shoot the asteroids.
Yeah.
I just felt like that just like was strangely difficult and then just really ground all of the forward momentum down.
Yeah. No, I remember getting very stuck on one of that so much so that I stopped playing the game for a while and then had to come back to it.
Metal Gear Solid 4 has a whole cutscene chase that happens at the end of the third act, I believe. That's always... I had a friend who was trying to beat that game on like European extreme difficulty level without getting shot one time. And so because there's this motorcycle chase and then all of the enemies shoot with flawless accuracy, it's like you have to just be like, bam, 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 bam. You have to be shooting them just like flawlessly or else you're not going to get it. But I'm not a big fan of turret sections in general.
Yeah. I also am not a fan of games that are designed to be played by two people but can be played by one person and the second player is just played by an AI. Especially earlier games in that try to do that, like Dead Space 3 or Resident Evil 5 as actually a big example. I never finished Resident Evil 5 because fuck the co-op AI in that game. I did not like it.
There was a little bit of that in 4, right? When you got Ashley, and you had to kind of like hide her away from the guys in the castle.
That's not so bad, and that's not the same thing necessarily.
Yeah. No, I get that. I think it's one of the reasons I never got into Revelations 2 was because that whole game was meant to be played like with a partner.
But yeah, and that's actually what was my problem with them, is that these are games that are designed specifically for you to be playing either couch co-op or online with somebody else.
Right.
But they didn't want to exclude the single player experience. But just the AI whatever they used, just due to limitations or what, the AI they used in place of a person was so goddamn dumb. Army of 2.
6 was like that as well.
6 was so bad.
Yeah. Army of 2.
Army of 2. I love the first Army of 2 game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't play that single player. I had to play that with my roommate, and that was actually probably why I ended up enjoying it so much, because me and my roommate just fucking loved that game.
Yeah. The first Army 2 was great. I played a co-op with a friend. I feel like there was this huge vogue where they wanted everything to be on the PlayStation 3 era, where they decided that like everything needed to have some kind of online component. Like nobody's playing. How many times have we seen the like single player games are dead? You want to play online with your friends, right? And it's like, no, I do not. I do not want to play online with my friends. I want to play by myself in my room with no friends. I don't want to have friends to play video games. Yeah, it was interesting because then you start thinking about how like Last of Us and BioShock Infinite both just decided, yes, there is another person. They are invincible. You're welcome, right?
Yeah.
Instead of having this like, oh, I didn't shoot that chainsaw guy that I didn't see fast enough, and he sawed Shiva Alomar in half, and now I've got to start over at the last checkpoint in this game. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of. I'm trying to think if there's been a good AI. The problem is that like if the AI is too effective, then I feel like they just play the game for you, and then you're just feel useless.
I mean, if we're talking about just AI, I feel like The Last of Us. I know she can't be hurt, but in that, but I feel like that was one that where it's not playing the game for you,
right?
But it's like it there's a good balance there.
Mm-hmm. Well, so she doesn't attack, right?
She can.
She can. Can't she?
Like I remember there being a scene where she threw a brick at somebody, right?
No, I think Joel's the one who throws a brick at it. There's a level where you play as her, but I thought that in the single player, she just like gets into the same cover as you.
I could have
swore
there
runs
was
between places.
Okay, maybe I'm imagining things.
I could also be imagining things. I can't remember, but I didn't think that she did anything because like Elizabeth in BioShock, you would have her. She would like throw you guns and like make the tears happen and stuff. But I don't think that Ellie.
I mean, I don't think it was very often. Like I always thought it was. If I remember correctly, it was like it wasn't something that happened a lot. But I could be entirely wrong.
I know the answer to the good one. It's Atreus from God of War is great, and like he's not completely invincible. He's kind of invincible, but he ends up being like your ranged attack, and then like it's all on his character because he has the bow, and they really build it up. But like, I don't know, he works better to me than a lot of the other like Dead-Eyed co-op characters in a lot of other games work. So. Let's see. What kind of time we're looking at here? We got time for a couple more. Caratana says, I have a very important question. Who would win in a fight between Geralt of Rivia, as portrayed in The Witcher 3, and the Doomslayer, as portrayed in Doom 2016? Assume Geralt has his sword and potions and signs and all that. The Doomslayer has his armor, a chainsaw, and anger management issues. Thanks, Will. The Doom guy.
Yeah, the Doomslayer. No offense to Geralt.
Right.
But he is not invincible.
Well, but like in Doom 2016, you go to hell, and hell has written lots of books about how fearsome, like demons are afraid of one thing, the Doomslayer.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Geralt gets razzed on by like dudes in a bar. You know, the Doomslayer goes to literal hell and then makes it his bitch. Like,
that's actually one of my favorite things about the Doom games is all the lore behind it that in hell the Doomslayer is this boogeyman and not in he's a mythological boogeyman. He's like, no, this motherfucker will come and he will kill you. We stay away from him.
Yeah. No, it's great. Again, no offense to Geralt. Like if Geralt was to set a very fiendish trap using everything that he had, he would probably get one shot because I'm not even convinced that Geralt has anything that could get through the Doomslayer's armor. Yeah. Like before he grabbed. I mean, you've seen the Doomslayer grab a demon and then just tear him in half, right?
Yeah.
Like Geralt of Rivia uses implements and like magic and stuff to have like very dramatic fights with people.
He may slow the Doomslayer down a little bit,
right?
But he will not stop.
But like, I feel like if there was the Griffin hunt at the beginning of Witcher 3, that the Doomslayer would just like jump, grab the Griffin, and then literally punch a hole through its heart, pull out its beating heart, and then beat it in the head until it fell out of the sky, and then he'd be like, throw the heart on it. I don't know. I'm Doomslayer all the way here.
Yeah, no, I no offense to Geralt. But
did you play God of War 20 whatever 2018 was
God of War? Yeah.
Yeah.
I played.
What about Doomslayer Kratos? Old Kratos, not young Kratos.
Old Kratos versus Doomslayer. That's
a rough one.
That's more of an equal footing. It could go either way.
Yeah, because I've seen Kratos get the ever-loving shit beat out of him, but he doesn't stop, right? Like, so, I don't know. I give him both bare hands. Well, if they want the bare hands.
I would also not be surprised if one day the Doomslayer removed his helmet and it was Kratos. Like, that would not shock me in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
They're kind of like on equal footing, you know?
I finally understood when I watched 18 episodes of Dragon Ball, why everybody's like, who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? And I was like, oh, it's because Goku is Superman.
Yeah.
He's just Superman. Like when they started Dragon Ball Z, they were just like, what if the guy from the last series was just Superman? And it's like, oh, okay. I mean, I could see how that would be a big mind job if I watched all however many episodes of original Dragon Ball there were, but I'm not doing that. All right, let's see. Let's go back to email. We got one that came in from Vanish Knight. Vanish Knight asks a really strange hypothetical question, which is, okay. Email starts. Hello, Jeff and John. This question is available if you don't have enough questions. Everyone knows the story of the Odyssey. I would maybe beg to differ with that. I don't think everybody knows the story of the Odyssey.
Elliot in the Odyssey, yeah. I know. Or is he talking about Mario Odyssey?
Either. I think they're both.
Or Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Well, that's true. I think he's talking about the OG Odyssey.
Yeah, the Iliad in the Odyssey, yeah.
Now, would you prefer to see an Odyssey movie directed by Michael Bay or Guy Ritchie, and why? Sarcastically, Vanish Knight.
Guy Ritchie all the way, man.
Yeah?
I thought the King Arthur movie, while not great, was fucking amazing. Like, not great, but it's like, it was what I expected a Guy Ritchie King Arthur movie to be.
Okay.
Let me put it that way.
Is it like The King or whatever?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I don't think I ever saw that one. King Arthur Legend of the Sword.
Yeah. Like it's not a great movie. Like it's a reason it didn't do very well. But I think when you take it through the lens of Guy Ritchie and just kind of accept it for what it is, it's actually a lot of fun. And I would totally love to see that kind of crazy artistry done to the Odyssey.
I think that the problem that I'm having is that I'm not convinced that Michael Bay can shoot anything that doesn't take place either in the present or slightly in the future.
I agree.
Because I've never seen him do it. Like, all he ever does. It
didn't have some form of modern military component.
Right. Like, he did, there was that part in the fourth Transformers movie where, not John Turturro, who's the other guy? Who's the guy that was the Bill Gates guy in the third movie? Stanley Tucci is Merlin talking to like Optimus Prime in medieval times or something like that. And it was stupid, really stupid. And this is from somebody who doesn't really hate Michael Bay as much as everybody else does. I mean, like, I thought that Six Underground kind of sucked, but, you know, I've liked some of the movies that he's made. I don't like all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael Bay, I'd probably not give two shits, but Guy Ritchie, I would watch that shit in theaters.
I would watch Guy Ritchie, too. I bet Guy Ritchie could do Greek mythology very well. Like, Sherlock Holmes was great. Like, the first one was great. Guy from U.N.C.L.E. did that like Cold War kind of, like, Guy Ritchie has shown that he's not stuck in one era, right?
Yeah.
I think that we thought that, like, after Lock, Stock, and Snatch that maybe he's just
the
British
crime
gangster.
guy. Yeah.
But then, like, he really did break out.
He tried other things, and what I liked about King Arthur was that the camera work, like he brought his style of filmmaking
Right.
to King Arthur. Like, he didn't change the way he films movies.
Right.
Like, he just malformed, or whatever you want to call it, the story to fit his filmmaking. And I'd be interested to see what that would look like on the Odyssey.
Yeah, me too. Aladdin sucked, but
I didn't see Aladdin. So.
But, you know, like,
I hear The Gentleman's good though.
there was no reason to remake Aladdin. There was no reason to make a live action Aladdin. All you did was make it worse. Like, it wasn't as good, and so it's on Disney Plus though. If you want to watch it, John.
Okay, I have Disney Plus.
Yeah, there you go. All right, one more question. This one comes in from you didn't sign your thing. I'm going to call you Toby. Toby says, "Dear Rage Select, I'm trying to think of a game where I might have identified with the plight or nature of the main character, but nothing is really coming to mind. I had this conversation with someone over characters in books, and we had a difficult time coming up with anything. Have you played anything recently where you identified with the character? Thanks for the years of enjoyment. I would donate through Patreon if I had money. It's worth it just for the bonus content. Well, thank you very much, Toby, who that's not your real name. I mean, like, it kind of depends on what you mean by identify with. Trying to like mentally kind of go down a list of games. I think that in a really odd way, even though it wasn't fully, like, I identified with a lot of the emotion of Sam Porter Bridges in Death Stranding, of kind of walking this lonely, road between these bright points of civilization and this like wilderness full of like scary stuff. Like, obviously, like, I don't walk around with packages strapped to my back. I would get real tired if I did that. But I think that I identified with the character. But I'm a pretty easy mark. Like, I empathize a lot with characters in video games. Yeah. I'm trying to think of some other stuff that came up. I don't know. It kind of depends on what you mean by identified with. Like, there's generalized concepts of just being like, if a character is sad, I've been sad. I know what sad is like. Oh, I feel bad for that character because that character is sad, and I've been sad before. I identify sad, right?
Yeah. I can't think of anything, not in games specifically. I mean, I could probably think of a few things in like, in
I really identify
media,
with the Doomslayer a lot.
Yeah.
Just every day I've just got
so much rage.
I've got to punch so many demons.
Yeah.
Actually, what's funny is I did kind of identify a little bit, not wholly, because it's definitely a different type of story, but with Kratos in the 2018 God of War, or 2018 God of War, because Kratos has a big beard and a bald head, and he's like old now and regrets his life choices. And I'm like, and I have a beard and a bald head, and I regret my life choices. So, me and Kratos, we're so, just like peas in a pod. If we met, we'd go out and be like, yeah, the world, right, Kratos? And then he'd probably just punch me in the face, and I would die. I would die from it. I don't know. It's difficult to say because I would not watch a show, play a game, or read a book that so closely hewed to my life, because it would be boring. And it would just be like, it was back when The Sims first came out, I used to be really pissy about it, and I'd be like, why would I want to play a game where you just have to go to work and take a shit and take a shower? I do all that stuff. I already go to work and take a shower. Like, I don't want to come home from work and then play a virtual person that has to do the dishes and like hang out with friends that they don't really like. Like, that's my life already. Why would I want to do it in a video game when I could just be doing it in real life?
Yeah.
Now I've come to realize that, there's definitely more to The Sims than that. That's like when people are just like, why would you even play Guitar Hero? Why don't you just learn how to play guitar? Like, well, because that's hard and the game is more fun. You get to be a rock star.
Yeah.
But so, I don't know that I would ever be into a media that was as close to my life as enough to be directly relatable.
Yeah, so. I mean, I've definitely had characters where I've described a character, and even Amanda, I was like, yeah, I really like this character. It's a really good character. And then Amanda's been like, yeah, because it's you.
Like who?
Like, oh, well, just like I'm trying to think. There was actually one earlier this week that like there was a conversation. I can't remember what it was about, but I described, and Amanda was just like, "Of course you like the character. It's basically you." And I can't remember what it was, but
Kamen Rider.
I know there was a Kamen Rider thing where there's a character in the current Kamen Rider series, the main character, who is a kind of a failed comedian.
Okay.
But like that's not the part that aspect. It's just that he's always making puns that no one either understands or finds funny.
Okay.
And like it actually is, it's just kind of funny because of that. And also he's a really endearing character in the current series. But yeah, no, I don't know.
Okay.
Like off the top of my head, because it was like when you asked the question, I was like, I just had this conversation with Amanda. What the fuck was it we were talking about in this entire time? And I can't for the life of me think of what it was.
Damn it! All right. Well, we'll just have to pick it up another day because that is all the time that we have. We are out of time. That is the end of the podcast. Please send some questions into mail@rageselect.com. If you got this far, you'll know that we need questions to answer the questions in the second part with the questions. If we don't have the questions, we can't answer the questions, John. We don't have any questions. So send your questions into mail@rageselect.com so we can questions so we can answer them. And one of these days, John, I don't have an outro.